Hey everyone! Recently I joined the Unity 20th anniversary 48-hour game jam, and here's how it went. It has been 6 years ago since I participated last in a game jam. For the last few years I've always worked on bigger projects, being responsible for live ops tool, architecture, systems, so I didn't really make a full game myself in a while, and participating in game jams kind of faded away from me. So when I saw this opportunity and I had a free weekend, I thought, sure, let's join, let's see how I will do. So with that, I'm taking you on the ride with me, going through the steps I took during this jam, so it may help you gaining some new insights, but most importantly, I hope you will enjoy seeing the process. When the jam started, I went for the old traditional way. I ordered some pizzas, had some sodas, and waited for the theme to be revealed.
Time to announce the theme for the Unity 20th Anniversary Game Jam. The theme is Timeless.
And there it was, the theme is Timeless. Quite a hard theme if you ask me, as it can be perceived in so many ways. However, what I always like to do when I'm participating in game jams is to take the first hour to just run down some ideas. And I always like to base these ideas on 3 simple rules. 1, it needs to be simple. 2, it needs to be progressive. 3, most importantly, it needs to be iterative. So let's go through the ideas I first wrote down. The first idea I had in mind was to make a game that's about portals through Unity's time. So you will be able to spawn portals and go through different time zones of Unity at that stage, and use the portals to move objects from one place to another and solve puzzles that way. I thought this was quite an interesting idea, but I was also afraid more people will do something like that, so I didn't end up doing, but in the end no one actually did, so maybe it was a mischance. The second idea was about a town where the hands of a clock are being stolen of the town hall, and you have to restore the town by getting those hands back from the enemies. Kind of a survival game. The third idea I had in mind to create a timeless meditation game. In this game I had the idea of doing puzzles, but when you move too quickly you will fail automatically. But when I pitched this to my girlfriend, she was like, this is gonna be the most annoying game anyone will play. Then I had an idea where you're a town hall owner, where you have a sandbox building game, where you have to build the town, and as you build the town you need more resources, and it makes it harder to keep the town hall running. And from this moment the idea of making a sandbox game really started to connect with me. I felt this with resources and stuff became a bit too complex for the 48-hour jam, which got me to another idea which I called Timeless Sanctuary. Within the Timeless Sanctuary I had the idea that you start in the middle of a city, player in the middle stops the time, and in the middle of the city becomes a Timeless Sanctuary. And it's your goal to expand it to get more people out of their 9 to 5 and into this timeless world. I thought this was a pretty cool idea, so I actually kind of went for it, but I simplified it down a bit more by removing the transition of the 9 to 5 world and just make it that you enter your world. And this is also how I got to my last idea. In the beginning I called it Timeless Garden, in the end I called it Timeless World, where I just wrote down where the core is. It's not about progress, it's about presence. And I thought that would be a really interesting idea for this timeless theme. So with that, let's get started. In the beginning I immediately stumbled upon a challenge. I never made a sandbox game and I haven't used Unity tile maps yet. However, that's also what I like about game jams, to truly challenge yourself and force yourself to just go for it. So I checked online, found these excellent tutorials I quickly went through, found myself this assets pack, and just started trying things out. First thing I did was making this tile placement test script, just to see how easy it would be. First try felt a bit strange, the tiles didn't place directly on the mouse position, so I tried setting the mouse position Z-axis to 0 and that solved it immediately. With that working, I was getting quite confident about this project and decided to also add the movable player to this world. Just a simple circle for now. I've been playing around with the movement script a bit. At first it was a bit sticky, then I solved the stickiness, and then I experimented with moving it in isometric or just up and down. I didn't know what to do with the player yet, but I wanted to do this just in case something came to mind. From this moment I worked hard on making the world building system, so you can select tiles and place them. I wanted this to work on the first day so the core is ready and I could fully focus on making the game more interesting the next day. This is how I quickly did it. I created this database scriptable object so I could make 2 selections of tile databases. At least that's how I like to call them. And have a button for each database. Then have this selector field that will just show the selection of tiles from the given database. And have a simple cursor/hover effect to give feedback of what you are building where. Usually I hate the singleton pattern, but in this case it helped me making me move quick, so please don't judge. It's not super pretty, but it was great for quick prototyping. So did I also add quickly some rules, like if a tile can be placed on a tile, that way some trees can be placed on grass and other just on sand. And for the ground tiles I set them to block by environment so they cannot be placed if there was a tree already placed, just so you cannot cheat making a palm tree stand on grass that way. Then just one thing had to be added before I could take a nap and rest, which is of course adding animations when you place a tile. What I did was just spawning a preview tile, animate that, and then set the grid tile. This code truly hurts my eyes, but this way it quickly had this fun effect and I could go to bed. The next day, the first thing I did was fixing some building issues. Like currently, if you select a tile, it places the tile through the selection. To quickly fix that, I came with an idea that you could only build next to neighboring tiles. That way you could just use the selection tool. Although I will come back to this later. I then wanted to add more building options. First thing I did was adding the remove button so you can demolish tiles. And then I added a field mode button, which allows you to drag and drop a field of tiles, making it more convenient and quicker to build your world. For this, I take the cell position when you press and calculate the field when you release. And for visual feedback, I also added a preview field as long as you are pressing down. And yeah, there is some duplicate code here, but this is a gem, okay? I was really satisfied how this brought it all together, making it easy and fun to build. With that, I moved on adding the camera controls, allowing you to move and zoom in. I also added that it would clamp the camera so you can't move it out of the screen. Just a little detail probably no one will ever notice, but I like to do it anyway. I do so by calculating the boundaries of the grid combined with the orthographic size. However, there was a little problem when zooming in too much. In order to solve this, the extent calculation has to be inverted when being below 0, so the boundaries stay correct. Now with the building and controls all feeling pretty good, I started to work on a little ecosystem. I therefore created these little blob animations, and oh, they turned out so cute. And I made a sketch for the player asset as well, and added some UI. I spent quite some time on their distribution logic. I wanted them to be spawned based on criteria such as how many tiles and how many trees, etc. For example, if you have a big field of grass but a lot of trees, there should be less blobs. So for this I had to come up with an algorithm to find the regions you build. And I chose to use the flood fill of algorithm for this. This basically looks for all the neighboring tiles and saves them if they are connected. This required me to fully refactor the tile database from earlier, so I could have each tile in a separate item and thereby also group them in separate databases, such as one for the grass tiles, sand tiles and water tiles. This way the flood fill, instead of using each tile separately, it will use their entire database of what are all water and what are all grass, etc. Then for the distribution, I could now find the regions and detect how many trees there are on there. Then for the blobs, they have their own database as well, and each blob can be set what tiles they need to spawn and how trees affect them. Then for the calculation, I just tried something, and this works a bit sturdy, but it does the job. Now at this point, one thing mattered the most, which is audio. I think I spent over a couple of hours looking for the right audio on Freesound and Pixabay, but I'm really happy with the selection I found. Take a listen. At this point the second day was almost over, but there was one thing that I really felt was needed, which is a saving system. This so I didn't have to build every time to quickly test the distribution, etc. This saving system saves all the tiles in a JSON and stores them in a file. And to allow multiple worlds to be created, I also added the save slot functionality here as well, so you can have multiple saves. So with that, the second day came to an end. I tried to get some rest so I could work on the finishing touches on the last day. On the last day, it's all about wrapping up. So the first thing I did was making a WebGL build to see if everything works. The first thing I noticed was that the saving system was not working. This, as saving to a file, is not allowed in WebGL. To solve this, I added a solution to store in player prefs for WebGL instead. And this works great. Then it was time to create the game flow. I set up a main menu with the option to create 3 worlds. For this I also added the basic pop-up that will ask you to give it a name and enter your world. And when the name is set, the next time you can enter it directly or remove it. I also added an info button just to show you how the game works. This as I didn't have enough time to add the tutorial. And at the end I also added the credits button. When you enter your world, I added a little transition. Here, take a look. First, you see your current time. This may be a detail that most won't even notice, but I really like to add those small details. This is set by your current system time and rotates the hands by this simple calculation. Then it animates to a random position to let its hands fall off after. This ties back to my second idea I had with the clock without hands. I still thought this would be a fun little detail to add, and it gives you the immersion that you truly enter a world without time. Then when you enter the game clock tower's hands will also fall off. I'm not sure if anyone will notice this as well, but this was just to add more to the narrative of the game being about having no time in this world. At this point there were still a few things I wanted to solve. With first of all, the blob's distribution trigger. As it was triggering by hiding the selection tool, I refactored the region calculations a bit so it would hash each region so new tiles can be detected within existing regions. And based on that we can add or remove blobs if a region allows more or less blobs, while keeping the rest of the blobs in its region alive. Then was also the selection tool. I fixed it so if you hover over the selection tool, it will not allow you to control the camera or start building. This makes the building and selection tool experience much better. And with that, it's all done. I would have loved to add more to it, especially in regards to interactions, having blobs interact to your environment and to your presence, and having the environment change as you build by another top layer. For example, by having plants or having waves based on the amount of water. And I have many more ideas like that, but the time during this jam was unfortunately not timeless. I also do want to mention that this was an incredibly fun game jam. Seeing over 400 games being submitted is truly awesome, and seeing so many participants playing each other's games, giving feedback or sharing their experience. It really shows how wholesome the games industry is and that game jams are for everyone. And it made me realize I should join game jams more often again myself. Or at least not wait another 6 years this time. So that's it. In the end I made a fun little sandbox building game where you can truly escape from time. I'm quite proud of how it turned out and I didn't really think I was able to push it this far, so it's a big win I actually did. If you're interested in playing this game, I will add the link down in the description below, and I will also add the link to the source code if you're interested. But be aware, this was a game jam. I didn't take any consideration of good architecture or performance or whatsoever. But I will do my best adding some comments here and there to explain what I would do differently. I hope you like this video, subscribe if you want to see more game development content, and as always, happy coding!